we have, an HR guy who's interviewing setters and closers every day, ranking them. I can look at their scores. We have that evaluated by AI, a human. This month, we're going to sell millions and millions. The profit after we pay closers and setters is probably going to be over 200K.
I would love to actually hear from your perspective how you would overcome certain objections. Would you be down to do something like that?
Yeah.
Get it? But actually, first of all, what I want to do is I want me to try and overcome it first, just to see what the average person does.
PhoneSales.com.
Sales assassin Stephen Werley here, taking over the sales game with PhoneSales. Stephen, first question that I want to ask you is actually what got you into sales yourself?
Yeah, great question. So I ran my own marketing agency that I started in 2016, which obviously I was selling, but I would never have considered myself in the, high ticket closing space at that point. So there was a whole journey that happened, right? So I progressed from doing websites into selling bigger marketing packages and doing the whole build outs for campaigns and everything. And then in 2020, about 3 weeks before the world shut down, I moved from Virginia up to Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Decided about a year into that, since it kind of changed the business a little bit. I was doing fine, but I decided to join another agency that was just crushing as a marketing strategy director with them. And lo and behold, I just didn't fully align at the end of the day, right? There was so many things happening, the types of clients we were bringing on, some different internal problems with the team. I just decided that it was probably best for me to step away. On top of that, I had a major awakening. My father passed, and it was completely out of the blue, and it was just like, what the hell am I doing? So that led me down this line where I decided to actually, just go out, tried restarting my own business again, which was a slightly different, totally failed, just botched as far as you could botch it, right? Like completely failed to close anybody and whatnot. So what I do, I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to go actually sell somebody in one of their selling gigs. And I was the top person on the team after like 2.5 months, I think. So my first 2 calls I closed, then I hit a dry run, dialed in a couple things, and then all of a sudden it was like every call just started to feel good. Like as long as the person wasn't like a complete, broke person with $5 in their account, of course. I knew I was selling them, right? So that's what really led me into the journey of getting into high ticket sales, because I just needed proof that I could do it to myself. And then it led me here to PhoneSales.
Oh, amazing. And so you were running your own marketing agency. You were actually fulfilling the product yourself, but you were also selling. So you were wearing like as many hats as possible, I'm assuming.
Yeah,
probably too
absolutely. Many hats. I was selling, I was fulfilling, doing account management stuff. Yeah, so I worked with a pretty small, tight knit group of clients that more about higher ticket price.
So you were fulfilling everything, you were doing everything. You got into sales, and then how did you come across PhoneSales initially, or was that
I joined the Facebook group. Just because I was in the high ticket space, so I was like, keeping my eye out just in case, I want to shift around. But
of course,
I actually first engagement with PhoneSales was, seeing a post by either Jovan or Sasha about becoming a partner, and decided to hit them up about it. So
that's sweet. So then, because to get into a partner, you're effectively a 50% shareholder in your side of PhoneSales, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Got you. And the commissions are quite good from what I've heard.
Quite good, yeah. We're gonna have some fun stuff happening, especially this month right now. So
there we go. No, that's awesome. So when you got into sales, I'm curious, because obviously a lot of people would probably see you now as well, and they're probably like, Like, oh, you're doing this much in revenue, you're doing this much in profit, you're closing deals. Like, I've seen the deals that you're closing. I'm like, these guys at PhoneSales, they are just assassins. I'm just watching them. Like, I generally used to think like 5K was like super high ticket. Now, just after looking at this, you guys getting 5K deposits. I'm like, Steven, man. I'm like, you're breaking limiting beliefs without you even realizing. Because I'm like, this is crazy. Like, what was your first size deal when you ever closed a deal?
My first deal that I ever closed, just in the high ticket space in general.
Not just in general. I'm just curious, just in general. Like obviously, like within like business, like not like something.
Probably
like...
a $2,000 website. Probably a $2,000 website was probably my first thing I ever closed back in 2016.
I'd say it's still relatively like high for like a first thing to close.
I did my research and I knew that there was no way I should sell a website for less than $2,000, and it quickly went up higher than that. Like we ascended to 5K pretty quickly and then above. But then I got out of the website game because I realized how much work went into it. And then ultimately that's why I got in the sales game, right? Like no fulfillment here, right?
Of course. That's what I love about it. I think it's a genius model, and I think again you're a genius for jumping in as a partner to say, well, we can grow this together. You utilize the skill that we're great at, and get you to this place. Because what would you say is like your revenue that you personally sold as a phone sales partner?
Oh gosh, I have no idea.
I
have no idea. Yeah, and like, I mean, this month the profit after paying closers and setters and the team and everything. So at like not just the phone sales cut, but like, gosh, I don't even know. I mean, this month we're going to sell millions and millions. The profit after we pay closers and setters is probably going to be over 200K.
Wow. Wait, is that for your individual organization within phone sales?
No, that would be inclusive of the 50-50 profit split, right? So,
got you. Go on, explain that to me because I'm really curious on that. Actually,
well, there's a 50-50 profit split, right? So if the profit after we pay setters and closers is 200K, and then you take the 50-50 profit split, like the cut to the partner would be 100K, profit to corporate would be 100K.
Right, that makes sense.
So.
That makes sense. Because that was the thing I'm really curious about. I think the model is genius personally, where it's like you've got you're effectively you've got your own sales agency effectively just under the phone sales name, right? That's how it works.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Because I've known Jovan for a fair bit of time through social media. I've been in contact with Sasha for a while now and speaking to you guys like here and there as well. And how do you find it working with phone sales?
Yeah, so I mean, I was obviously confident enough to sign on at the beginning. I will say, like, early on, I had reservations with how high the profit split was. Like 50-50 profit split, like I'm going to be doing the work, I'm going to be doing all that. Like that's a lot to give up, right? But then you see the potential, and then you see the value that, phone sales is bringing to you in terms of their connections, clients. We got an HR system. We're interviewing setters and closers all the time. So, in terms of the way that I see it and all the value that's being provided back to me, it's fantastic. I love, that we have this whole system where we have, an HR guy who's interviewing setters and closers every day, ranking them. I can look at their scores. We have that evaluated by AI, a human. I can look at them and then I can call them up and just be like, hey, you want to close for me? Let's hop on, do a quick role play, make sure that everything checks out. And, that first call wasn't a complete, just dud or something, and then we'll move forward. So,
yeah, it's because I feel like that is the HR system, meaning sort of phone sales AI with the HR manager and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, we're HR system, meaning we're constantly hiring people into the system. We're interviewing people, and then we can internally hire. But then we allow other companies to have access to this too, and they can hire out of it as well.
Yes, that's the thing. I feel like phone sales in itself is like building like its own conglomerate, which is super cool. And I like the vibe of everyone. mostly. Like everyone's got the same goal, and they're all on the same like wavelength, and it's just like let's go together. And I feel like definitely when you do something together with other people, one, it makes it more fun, but also at the same time it builds a community around one common goal. I mean, and you get there faster as a result while having fun on the journey as well, right?
Absolutely. I think, in terms of the team, everybody here is a high achiever, which
Yes.
I love. And it's being part of that atmosphere that just brings the best out of you. Like when I signed up as a partner, it's not like I was handed everything on a silver platter. Like I still had to come in. I still had to find my first offer. I had to sell the client on me, on phone sales, all the things. And then I had to hire my team. I had to build my deck. And did I have help with some of this stuff? Absolutely. I had some guidance. I had a mentor throughout the whole thing, which is also a great part of becoming a partner. And then, I had to actually get some deals closed. I had to get the closers closed deals. I had to train, the setters, all of that, still exists. And you still have to come in and do the work. So it's not like it's just easy. We're going to hand this to you on a silver platter. And that's what I love about every single partner here is we're dedicated to performing at the top level. But not only that, we have an extremely high requirement for our clients to hit.
Right.
Yes. I learned very early on in my marketing. Yeah, I learned early on in my marketing agency, you don't want to work with someone that's just, for lack of a better term, a dick, or anything else. Like you want to be able to work with the right people, but then past that, in the sales world, there's a lot of bad players out there. And what we pride ourselves on is that we are going to work with the people that are actually delivering results for their clients.
100%.
That's what I like. That's something that, that's something that we just hold, all the way up.
Yeah. And it's like, also, like, I just noticed this, I had this thought process, is like, what I like about all the phone sales, like closers, partners, founders, everyone in general, is, like you said, it's that high level of, more for a better word, pickiness. Like to be like, well, I can choose whoever I want to work with because we don't need your money, effectively, from one perspective. But at the same time, like, are they actually going to deliver on what they say they're going to deliver on? Because you guys are selling it. And it's like, you guys are trained professionals in selling. You know what I mean? You're doing what you're best at. And I think that it's the best way to run it, personally. And you're able to get on calls with these people, but you won't take them if they're not the right fit, which I think is a very high standard, because it's like, well, no, I'm not just like, you're not just giving us money just to close for you. Like we want to make sure that you're closing or you're fulfilling the service just as we sell it. How would you say you do that? Because do you do a lot of the vetting process as well, or is it like a whole back end thing?
Yeah, so we definitely vet. We look online. One of the things we like to do is we like to talk to past clients as well. And that's, that's just a really important piece of the process for us, because we've all worked with bad players before. We all make that mistake and bring on the wrong client. And I think when that happens, you learn your lesson, and and then you just cut it out, right? So, we try not to mess around at the negativity or anything like that. But when it happens, it's like, well, hell with you, out, and then we're done. And then that's just such a big learning experience too.
Of course,
because once you have that happen to you, like, and for me, it was back in 2016, 2017. Then you learn who you want to work with and who you don't want to work with. 100%. And you learn how to vet those people. But talking to past clients, looking up reviews, things like that, checking out their business, and just honestly feeling the connection like we are right here through, a call, just knowing whether they sound and feel genuine and everything like that. That's exactly how our sales guys are going to act. They're going to be super genuine with somebody that are talking to you. It's not like, a lot of people think like, in the sales game, you got these people who are going out and they're just like sitting here hard closing, being D-bags on Zoom and everything like that. Like, no, this is a connection game. So we take a lot of pride in that.
And that's what I like about it. When I watch all your guys' calls, like I sit there, I'm still like, even when it comes to me like getting the calls chopped up and stuff like this, because I'm having to like blur out faces for private and confidential stuff. I'm like, but I'm watching the calls and I'm just like, I like the way that you guys do stuff, because what I'm used to seeing when it's like you've got like on like actually closing the sale, and it's finding pressure, but not too much pressure that you're coming across as a douchebag, but you're putting enough pressure that they're fulfilling on what their desire is. Like you're on a call with someone who wants to build a business, or they want to do whatever it is they want to do. You're making sure you're putting on the right amount of pressure for them to actually achieve what they're actually saying they want to achieve. Like, how do you do that as a closer, an assassin, like someone who actually closes deals versus someone who's just average at like jumping on a call and obviously closing a sale when someone goes, yeah, I'm ready to buy? Like, how do you turn someone around from to like, I'm sold, I'm ready, let's go, let's credit card, done, deposit?
Fantastic question. What needs to happen is you have to get the prospect to draw their own conclusions, right? Like if you try to draw the conclusions for the prospect, you're going to lose. Okay. So this happens before we ever make a pitch. This happens in discovery, right? This happens when we're just understanding their situation, understanding, where they're at, where they want to be and everything. And then as long as that makes sense, when you do the pitch, all the dots should be connected.
Good.
And then it's easy, right? You come at the end, it's like, cool. So get started today, it's a $5,000 deposit. And boom. Yeah. And we had 2 of those last night from the same guy, like within like an hour of each other. Like in this,
I want to.
So it's like it's just like we just see them roll in. So it's just a very genuine thing of understanding where someone's at and where they want to be. And if you could do that in sales, and you can understand someone and not sound scripted and read off a script and have these questions directly in front of you, which I think so many salespeople get in the habit of doing. Then you just are able to crush it. Like, it's just a conversation. I think so many salespeople forget that. It's just a conversation.
And that's something that I personally found out. Like, I wouldn't consider myself as great closer as everyone here at PhoneSales. I've closed deals, nothing like the type of size that you guys have closed. But I've closed deals. But for me, what really blows my mind is watching someone that is like, I don't know, turning to a complete yes. I'm like, how the hell? Like, I'm sitting there analyzing it. Like, how the hell did they just do that? Like, and of course, there's strategy in that, but a lot of the time it is really that. I suppose the overall goal is like, well, but I can actually help you. I really can help you. And I suppose one of my favorite things that I've heard from people was, well, if someone offered you right now to buy a Ferrari, like a brand new Ferrari for $10,000, it's like, even if you don't have 10K, you're going to find that 10K no matter what, because the deal is too good to say no to. Like,
right.
How do you make a deal too good to say no to?
Yeah. So it's a couple of things, right? Like it depends on what the deal actually is. Now, a lot of what we're selling is the best thing in the world because we're selling money.
Of course.
Well, yeah, we're selling more money, right? So that's really important. But past that, you have to make sure that there's very, very, very little risk for the person coming in and doing something. Right. So when you remove that risk from the process, then how do you say no? Right? Like, you can say like, hey, I'll give you a Ferrari for $10,000. But what if it's like, hey, I'll give you a Ferrari for $10,000. And then if anything happens to it or breaks down or anything, I'll just buy it back from you. Right? Like, or I'll give you the funds to fix it. Right? So when you have that extra layer, past the price, like the price has to make sense for somebody. They're not going to, invest $10,000 in something that's going to give them $1,000, right? Of course. If you're giving someone, the means to make back their investment, and they feel confident that if God forbid something goes wrong, because as humans we always think about worst case scenario. Of course, it is what it is. Like, we think about worst case scenario. And a lot of high achievers are better at that, but it doesn't remove it from the fact when you're giving somebody else your money. And when you do that, you need the assurance that, well, my money's going to be okay no matter what. and that's lined out in this contract that I'm signing right now. So
right. So then how would you, because from the conversation I had with Sasha, he was saying that about you craft their offers. Is that something that you help with them personally? Like as a partner, you do their offers?
So let me ask a question. What can you just clarify that just a little bit? What did Sasha say exactly, just so I understand?
So, for example, I said to Sasha, I was like, how do you make deals like so irresistible effectively? And he said, I go in and we don't take their offer currently and just like run their sales presentation. We look at what they actually offer and we make it so pretty that like they don't have to offer more, but what they're offering is actually shown to such extent that people are like, okay, that makes sense now. Whereas before it was just like, oh, this is what we do. This is what we do, but this is what you get as a result of what we do. Like it's, I suppose, it's like creating that presentation side of things that make it so irresistible for people to just immediately say yes to.
Exactly. So one of the things when you're bringing on an offer is that typically that deck was created by someone who isn't really a salesperson, or it just isn't as professional as it should be, or maybe that salesperson just sells in a completely different way than we do. Maybe they are that hard seller or whatever. They, just go down the pitch. Who knows, right? But yes, when we look at an offer, we're not looking at, hey, like this is just A, B, and C, but it's like, what can it really provide to you? And how can we convey that in a presentation? And not everybody understands this. There's somebody who actually reached out to me interested in working with us, who worked with another sales agency before. They were misrepresented by that sales agency and everything like that. But they basically wanted to just pay us no upfront fee and the same percentage that they were paying that agency. So when I proposed to them what we do, they were like, no, but they didn't see the big picture because they were like, oh, we have the deck, we have the systems, we have all this stuff. And it's like, great, I'm not going to use any of that, right? Yeah. Like, I'm not going to use any of that. And we're also going to make sure that we're learning your offer. I'm not going to promise that we're never going to make a mistake when we're saying something, but we're going to weed out those mistakes as fast as humanly possible. And we're going to sell at the utmost ethical ways that we possibly can, while delivering you a shit ton of money and clients.
Who can say no to that?
Right. That's it. So
but because that's the thing that I find very interesting, specifically with phone sales, is everyone that I've personally spoken to is so genuine that even that like me coming into like the vicinity of everyone in phone sales, my perception has changed completely. And like I've basically created in my mind what high ticket actually is. And high ticket for me has completely shifted perception. And it's gone from what I thought like 2, 3, 4, 5K was high ticket. I'm just like, it's really not. Like, it's really not, because these are deposits. And it's like, that doesn't mean that it's not a lot of money for some people. But the reality is, it's like, people are making like literally this as a deposit. People are selling this. And obviously, like you said, when you're selling money, it's going to be higher ticket. Like, you're selling a property, you're selling an asset to people. Like it really depends on what you're selling versus like selling, I don't know, $1,000 fitness coaching or $500 fitness coaching. It's completely different. But I like the way that, like you said, you go in and like effectively you're not going to use someone else's tools to fix something that you're like, I don't even know if those tools work.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, it's just not effectively using the right stuff that you would sell with better, I suppose.
Right. And back to the whole, what is high ticket? And it's, 5,000 high ticket versus, 50, 150,000, 200,000. Like, where does the line cross? I think a lot of this falls back to limiting beliefs a lot by people when they just start their businesses.
Of course.
Or there's like this whole, coaching craze right now where people just, they want to be coaches. They think it's super scalable to do group calls. I'm not saying it's a bad model at all.
Yeah,
And some people don't have the infrastructure to do like a higher ticket done for you thing.
of course.
And I understand that it's not quite as scalable. But a lot of people are just straight up scared about selling something that's $50,000 or $100,000.
Of course.
It's like because they feel like they can't, but the people are out there where that money is nothing to them. And it's not that it's everyone, or I'm not even saying that to lower how intense that sale is.
Of course.
But the reality is there are people out there that will consume those things if you have the right offer.
Of course.
And
of course,
we're happy to help you build that.
Yeah. No, exactly that. No, I love that. So what would you say is like the highest deal that you've closed?
The highest deal
like
right now,
wise,
I think is a $600K deal.
Well,
I think it's a $600K deal. Technically, the cash isn't collected yet on that.
Right.
However, I don't think there's any concern. Like, I mean, the deal is pretty much done. It's just the guys getting the funds, and then it's coming in. So all in. So $600K would be the highest. I think of cash collected, I think would be $200K.
Oh wow. And we're not allowed to disclose the industries, are we, on here? I've spoken with Sasha about that.
Yeah, let's not do that. Yeah.
So anyone watching this podcast, if you want to understand what is actually making these guys at PhoneSales so much money, you need to join. You need to become a closer, a setter, a partner, whatever it is, to get in the vicinity of these people. But it generally just improves your life. My personal opinion, because I feel like it sets a higher standard, because you also see other people that are no different to you doing the same thing, and you're like, well, of course, like my role specifically, what I'm doing, I'm like focusing on all the content side of things. So it's not the sales side. So it's slightly different, but it's that mindset of just like, well, why can't you start selling things like this? And like you said, some people are just genuinely scared to sell $50,000. And it's like there's generally nothing to be scared of. There's generally nothing. Like, what do you think causes that limiting belief? Because I'm sure you probably had that at one point, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure early on in my business days, I think it's the scare. It's honestly the fear of getting in front of those people. Like, sometimes you just view them at a different level. If you haven't done it yet, and you haven't been there yet, you haven't made that kind of money yet, and I think that in itself is intimidating.
Of course.
But when you step into that world, you immediately level up. It's like you're leveling up your network, you're leveling up the people that you're talking to. And you might learn on a call that you're selling on of how to improve yourself.
Well,
just because you're talking to someone who's better than you,
100.
who's been there.
Even if the close is a no, if it's like it doesn't close, it's just a no, you learn something on that call that actually helps you level up, right?
Right.
That's wild.
Yeah, it goes back to that, never be the smartest person in the room type thing.
100%.
Even on Zoom, I'm sure sometimes we feel that way, but there's always something to learn from most people.
100%. 100%. And I
Yeah.
think, like, even like I said, just from conversations, even just a conversation with yourself, like I learned something. Conversation with Sasha, with Jack, with any one of the partners, like I always learn something new. I'm like, oh, that's an interesting concept. Like.
Yeah, like Jack and Sasha, they talk about that conviction all the time. Like that's such a true thing too. That they talk about.
Right. But that's it. It's like and at the end of the day, like I've had literally been on sales calls with people, and I'm like, or even been on calls with people that want to edit for me and stuff like that. And when they say the prices, they sound very unsure, which just plants uncertainty into me. And like I used to be on the other side of that, where I would be like, $2,000, $2,000, like you say, like just like really like I was calling it $2,000, but like if
I think getting on sales calls now is one of the most fun things in the world.
Of course,
because I mean, I'm always analyzing, right? I don't like to say judging, but I'm always analyzing it, and then when it gets down to price. Honestly, like, to me, it doesn't scare me when somebody is, like, scared to say the number. But I'm just like, because I'm either going to believe in the product or I'm not. I'm going to believe in the person or I'm not. Most people I hop on a sales call with, I honestly have pre-sold myself.
Right.
Just the reality of the situation.
Right.
So I'm a pretty easy sell, honestly, once you get me on a call. But
Right.
it is funny when you get to the end there and it's like, okay, how are they going to do this? And they'll either just give you a wham full of information, just throw the price up, or they're, like you said, they're generally pretty terrified to say the price.
Yeah.
And then a lot of times I'm sitting there, like, I'm just like, man, they should add like, another 0 to that or something.
We're like, how much? 200? Okay. Yes. Yeah. I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah, right?
I would have paid 2,000 for that.
It's like, wait, you're doing all that work and then like that's how much you're gonna make? Like, dude, like even if you're just managing a team of VAs, like that's too little for you.
Yeah. So it works. Do you want to?
Yeah.
You don't have to stand up and record it. Is the camera out? Oh, it's completely out. Are you sure?
Camera's out.
I've got my girlfriend's my camera lady. Thanks, babe.
Yeah, that's good. Trooper.
Cool. So what do you think is actually before I say that, what I want to do is I really want to do like something I was saying in the chat about I want to do like an overcoming objection type thing, because I watched a video of Julian overcome objection the other day, and I'm just like, I genuinely am just curious because I would consider myself a average salesperson. Like I can sell when someone's sold. Obviously it's easy to sell when someone's sold. But when it comes to actually overcoming objections, that's stuff I really suck with. So like, I would love to actually hear from your perspective of how you would overcome certain objections. Like, would you be down to do something like that?
I'm down.
Yeah. Okay. So like,
a little rusty right now. Let's go. Well, not in that space, but let's do it.
Let's get it. But actually, first of all, what I want to do is I want me to try and overcome it first, just to see what the average person does. Because for me, like, I don't know, overcome the objection of like, I don't know, like I can't afford it. I'm sure you've come across that with what you guys have, right?
Well, that one's kind of like general. Can I give you one?
Go for it.
Let's do. I'm happy to move forward, but I kind of want to talk to one of your past clients first.
You want to talk to one of my past clients? See, in that, I'd be like, okay, like well, I suppose I've got past clients. If you want to speak to them, like I wouldn't know what to say. Like I've never heard that objection, so I genuinely wouldn't know what to say. I'd just be like, yeah, I guess like, I can put you in contact with a past client. Like, what do you want to hear from them? I suppose.
I guess I just want to know like what kind of results they've gotten.
Well, I mean, we've got all the results on our website. If you really want to see what they're doing, see what we're doing for them.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It's just like sometimes it's just nice to actually like hear it from someone specifically, right?
Okay. What type of stuff are you specifically looking to hear?
Like I just want to know their experience, like what it felt like to work with you, what the process really felt like. Like I know I can look at your testimonials and I see you get results, but a lot to me is like the actual process of working together and making sure that feels right. And I just don't know if I can get that out of the testimonial.
You don't feel like you can get that out of the testimonial. You need to speak to a physical person like myself in order to get what specific information?
Yeah, like speak to one of your clients, just to be able to hear what it was like to work with you from their perspective.
What do you want it to be like when you work with us?
Well, I want to know, what the communication structure is going to be like if there's more than what you're leaning on to, because sometimes you enter into this stuff and it sounds like it's not going to be a lot of work, but it really is a lot of work. Sure. And I just want to make sure that what I'm doing, I actually have the time budgeted out for it and everything like that. I like you, you're a nice guy, but this is our first time meeting. And it would just help me if I got that clarity. If I got that clarity from someone, I'll move forward in a couple days.
I'm stuck. Your turn. I'm stuck there. I'm stuck.
You were doing good, like trying to lose me, but yeah.
Yeah, it's like,
yeah.
and genuinely, seriously, like after watching all your guys' sales calls, like I've started to get in my head like things that I would do. But I suppose like with that repetition, like, I know you were being difficult there, sort of like on purpose. And
Yeah, I'm being difficult.
but like I feel like I've 100% learned a lot more just from watching you guys. But like, how would you overcome that? For example, I'm saying, well, oh, Stephen, I love what you're doing. I love what you're offering. Money, yeah, we're cool with that. But I definitely want to speak to some past clients and hear from their personal experience.
Cool. Yep. Totally understand you. Appreciate you asking that. Actually, can you just let me know what the actual thought process is behind that question?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to hear their personal experience. I want to hear how they find you and as a business, as an individual, as communication, to speak to you, to work with you, the results they're getting, all that kind of stuff.
Cool. And just for clarity, did you watch the client testimonial videos before we hopped on this call?
Yeah, we watched all the client testimonial videos. I like what you're doing, but I definitely would like to speak to maybe some of those guys in the testimonials, because watching a video is a video, isn't it?
Cool. Give me a timeout quick. What product am I selling right now? I need an example. Give me an example. What am I selling?
What should we go with? Say marketing services or website, something like that. Let's go website. You've already got experience with that.
Okay, cool. Fine. All right. I'm gonna bullshit this part a little bit. But all right. I'm gonna come out of timeout. Yeah, so exactly. You've seen the client testimonials. Ultimately, when it comes to generating these types of results, there's really three main things that you need to have in place for you, and those are, number one, you got to have an actual business set up, like ready to collect payments, right, for your e-commerce site. You have that, right? Boom, right? We got the merchant services. Two, you got to be able to sit on a call with me, and then I'm going to interview you, get some content out of you to be able to utilize on that site.
Yeah, sounds good.
And then the third thing, the only thing you have to do is I'm going to deliver you, something, and you just have to review it and make sure that's all good and within your business. Just to clarify, those three things are good with you?
They're perfect with me.
Yeah, so, given that we've had hundreds of other businesses sign up, get websites from us, had those three things in place, they got the results they wanted. If you had the right system, you got the support you need from us and everything like that, do you think that you're going to be able to go through and get the results?
I mean, by the sounds of it, yes, 100%.
Cool. And so while I agree with you, that talking to one of our clients is a great idea, it doesn't change the fact that I can help you solve the problem right now that you mentioned, right?
True.
Wow. All right. Cool. So I had to think whether we price dropped or not at this point. So there's a couple different ways to go about this right now. So I'm going to assume that we didn't, and you can throw back at me the same objection, right? Because that's typically what happens. It's like, cool. So are you cool with, kind of moving through, without talking to a past client?
I'd still like to talk to a past client. Like, that would be really helpful.
Yeah. Cool. So we can definitely talk about that, and I appreciate you being open and honest with me. Now, are you cool if I'm open and honest with you for 100%. A second?
I think we got that here.
Cool. So right now, I'm on a call with you, and we have about 10 to 20 clients. I have 10 to 20 people reaching out to me every week, asking to work with me. And at the same time, I like to keep a pretty tight-knit small group of high-quality clients because I want to make sure that they're supported. So while I'm not saying that your request is invalid at all, just in my current position, with 20, 30 people reaching out to me each week, it just wouldn't really be appropriate nor realistic for me to fill my clients' calendars with a bunch of people who are just thinking about doing this and not necessarily serious about doing it anyways. especially when a lot of my clients, they're highly successful and they charge anywhere from $1,000 to $5,000 per hour. So that's just not something I'm going to be able to do with that. So with that being said, how would you like to proceed from here?
I mean, I would really like to speak to a client, but I don't know how we can make this possible. I suppose I don't know. I suppose we should just go Visa or Amex. We should just go with Visa or Amex. Which one would you prefer? That. You sold me. I like it.
Right. Yeah. So typically at that point they just accept, right? They just accept. And then if you need anything else,
what do you think that is? Because like, for example, like what I notice is kind of like it's literally like chicken, like two cars on the road, like who's turning last. And I suppose that's your job as the salesman to have that nerve to be able to turn last, but like not in a dick way. Do you know what I mean? Like you didn't do that in a dick way. And I think I really like what you said there is like, I get what you're saying. And my favorite part about all of that was, well, the clients that I work with, you're like giving yourself that credibility. Well, the clients that I work with charge this much per hour. Like I can't just fill up their calendar because you're asking. Do you know what I mean? That's like you working with someone that knows Elon Musk and being like, oh, can I just get a 5-minute convo with Elon Musk? It's like, well, no. Why? That's right. A really interesting looking at it.
So there's a couple things. Like one, you have to use the lines that are, understanding of where they're coming from, which is where a lot of people fail to convert in objection handling, because they turn it around and they feel attacked because this person isn't buying right now. But it's normal human reaction. Like if you get to the end of the call and they just say yes so easily without asking a question like this or something, very, very tough. So you have to be like, hey, like totally appreciate you bringing that up. That's great. Just tell me your thought process behind that. Give yourself a second to think and then let them talk, right? And let them be heard. But then also, sometimes it's just reality. I actually deflated those numbers a lot because normally what we're going to say is there's, 80 to 100 people reaching out to us per week. And when you just put that in perspective, it's like a lot of people say that they're interested and a lot of people say that they want to talk to our clients, but then they're not necessarily serious about moving forward. They're just like, oh, yeah, because now they're future pacing themselves where they're like, oh, okay, so if I'm a client, like, and they have 20, 100 people reaching out each week, then like, do I expect them to send like a couple people every day to me? Like so these things are starting to move through their head. It's a hard thing to say no to. Now, someone could obviously still go through all that and they could still say no. It's like, still, I want to talk, to one of your clients. And then in that case, it ultimately depends on the client. But if, most of the times we aren't, doing client referrals. Sometimes we are. There's a couple clients where we are. And then, we will end the call. Like, because not every sale is going to be closed.
I like that.
But the money is getting it on that first call, because when you set those follow-ups, like your show rate drops astronomically. It's, at best, probably a 20% show rate for follow-ups, if not worse than that. Right. So do you think it's worth continuing to fill your calendar up with a bunch of follow-up calls, when you could just have a new call of a potential high-end prospect? And the reality is, people get mad at sales teams for not squeezing all the money out. And it's like, yeah, could we? But, we also could just make more money by not setting follow-ups, or only setting follow-ups when we collect deposit, And if I'm going to refer somebody out, to talk to a client, I'm going to take a deposit, even if it's $1,000. I'm going to take a deposit. Like, I'm not going to just, willy-nilly send someone out there. So if someone said no to me again, I'd be like, cool. I'll do this. I'll let you talk to one of my past clients, but I'm not going to let you do it without committing here. Because if that's the only thing holding you back right now on getting started, then, it sounds like you're ready to move forward. Is that true? And if they're like, yeah, that's the only thing holding me back, or you might get a real objection, right? If you get the real objection, you handle that. But let's say that's the only thing holding them back. It's like, cool, let's just do a deposit. We'll get you locked in. I'll send you out to one of the referrals. If anything doesn't check out there, just let me know. But if not, then we're already ready to move forward. You can shoot me a text and we'll send you the onboarding calendar link and wire details. And that's it. So at least then you're gaining commitment on that first call.
I like that. And it's like, and it's partially, I suppose, is, what's the word? Like a token of commitment. But also at the same time that once someone starts parting with their cash, they start selling themselves on something more. I know I personally do that. I think that's just human nature. It's like we don't want to buy something we feel like isn't a good deal. So when we buy it, we sell ourselves more on it. And then that's where they start selling other people around them on it that it was a good deal. But I like the way you've done that. That's something, and that's what I like about being around people like yourself, and being connected with people like yourself, because it, like you said, it forces you to level up because you learn something new. And it's like, there's 100% things that I know that you don't, and you know that I don't. And that's the reality of life. It doesn't matter where we are in the world or what we're doing. We're always going to learn something. And I really like that. And that's why I like to have these conversations with these sales guys, because anyone at PhoneSales is a top tier A1 sales assassin like Steven, and anyone watching that wants to become a top tier A1 sales assassin like Steven needs to send PhoneSales a message on Instagram or go onto the website PhoneSales.com and sign up and head in for an interview. And maybe, just maybe, you will be able to work with Steven yourself.
Possibly. Looking for someone right now, actually.
There we go. It's happening. It's happening. So just before we wrap up, you've got to go in about a minute, don't you? Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So what would you say is like an interesting part about working in sales on a regular basis?
An interesting part about working in sales on a regular basis. You think that a lot of it is monotonous and, it just stays the way it is. You wake up, lead the team in a daily stand-up call, and then get them to go close and review some calls. But it's really not at all like what it is. Like, we're constantly analyzing different things, looking at performance. We're looking at adding different things into these offers. We get to, communicate with clients, stuff like that too. But the cool thing is how much it actually changes on a day-to-day, like the different things that pop up. And I don't want to say, problems that come up, because it's really not. It's just like you have these little hurdles that pop up that you need to figure out of how to make the process more complete. And as we continue to do that, the offer just gets like better and better and better. And then like that's when you start seeing like every day on some of these offers, you're getting a deposit, 2 deposits, everything like that. And then like you're also getting the PIFs too. You're getting the paid in fulls, like, on that as well. That starts stacking, and it's just insane. But yeah, I think what's so exciting is just really watching the team, watching the closers go out there and close. And then like, our one offer, we brought a setter in, and he literally set a call one day, the first day that he was working, which the appointment was the same day he was working. And then the closer closed it, got the deposit, and the dude was like paying in full in like another 2 days. They didn't have to go through funding or anything. And it was like, whoa, like that setter was like, oh my gosh, like I can see my life changing like literally right now.
In his bank account. That's crazy. And that's what I love about
it. It's fulfilling, dude. Honestly,
because you're watching people improve their life by earning more money. You're helping out your clients. You're having fun while you sell. Like, it's a win-win. And the most fascinating thing is the fact that no phone sales social media was active until recently. And I'm like, that's why I want to come in and be able to be a part of that, to be able to do that, because I see what you guys are doing. And I think you guys are way better than a lot of people that I've seen and followed in the past. And I think more people need to hear from you guys, because you guys are all more genuine as well. Like, none of you are sitting there and like, people wouldn't even realize how much money you guys are making, because you're not sitting there flashing it in front of a Lambo with all your stuff. Like, you're not trying to make it obvious, and not anything against that. I love Lambos, Jeremy. I want one. But like, it's not like you're trying to sell yourself as like, oh, I've got a Lambo, this is why you should work with us. You're not looking for those people. You're looking for people who are genuinely good at sales. not good at, like you said, it's easy to sell a ride in a Lambo because it's a Lambo. You don't really need to sell it. Versus like you guys are actually out there selling. And I see that. I see a lot of value in it. And like I said, I really want to take it as far as I can go.
Yeah, exactly. We celebrate our wins internally. Yeah, we're not the flashiest people in the world, but I think we do have a super genuine group of guys and even some gals here too. And yeah, I appreciate you saying that too, because I mean, our team and camaraderie is super important to me and the people that work with us, and we really are looking for the best. And you know, we're not looking for somebody that's gonna, you know, come in and they're looking for a stopgap thing. We're looking for people that want to change their lives and then change other people's lives as well.
I see it.
But if you don't have the second thing, you don't have the fulfillment to do the first thing. Like, you're not going to change your life if you don't want to change someone else's life.
That's the thought process that I've learned over the years as well. And that's why I'm making this my mission to make sure PhoneSales blows up, because without that, like you said, my life won't change if other people's lives aren't changed as a benefit of my life. So there we go. We're making it happen, Stephen.
We appreciate you, Max.
Doing what I can. But Stephen, I appreciate your time, bro. I appreciate your time. I look forward to the next one. Like I said, we're going to adapt this. We're going to improve it. We're going to get better. Is there any final words you want to say to anyone watching this video?
Oh, always the question I was not prepared for. So let me think for a second, because you can make a cut anyways.
Can be related to sales, related to just life advice, something that you've learned through your life.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is when you look at what you're doing right now and you think about whether it's making you happy or not, whether it's making you fulfilled or not, whether you're the man or woman you need to be for your family and your kids and your spouse and all of those things. If you feel at all like you have not hit the level that you feel like you're meant for, which I get everybody's always trying to improving, then don't be afraid to jump. Like, don't be afraid to take that risk, especially if you're so young enough, it's never too late to develop a skill, right? But the sooner you start, the better it is. Right. Best time to plant a tree was 10 years ago. Second best time is today, type thing. So like, you need to be willing to just take the jump, because I guarantee you, like, you're 75, 80, 85. When you look back and say like, hey, at least I tried, like, even if you come up and you don't hit your goal, you're never going to regret that. Like, you're going to be happy that you went out and do it. But if you just stayed in that W-2 job your whole life, lived a mediocre life, like maybe it was okay, but didn't have quite the time with family you hoped, or, take your kids on that vacation you hoped to, you're going to look back and you'd be like, man, could I have done things maybe a little bit differently? I never want to look back and feel like that. I don't want anyone to look back and feel that way. So I think, don't be afraid to go take that jump, while you can, you're feeling good about it.
If anyone watching this video wants to take the jump and get into high ticket sales, then you know exactly where to go. Go over to PhoneSales.com, because that's where life's going to change. And like you said, if you don't get in and you don't enjoy it, you can always go back to your W-2 job. You've always got space to go back, but you don't know if you don't try. Let's go.
Bingo. Yeah. Everyone's hiring right now, I'm pretty sure. So.
They're hiring, I don't like 10, 20, 30, 50K months these guys are doing. So everyone's hiring. They're looking for closers, genuine closers, more than anything. And if you feel you're a fit for that, then definitely head over to PhoneSales.com and have an interview with the HR manager.